Nome?
Pucci Peligiano, signore.
Oh, sala d'attesa numero 2. Il prossimo. Oh.
Glottis! Glottis! Estás bien?
Glottis, dove sei andato questa volta?
Alex, you had mentioned on our break that you were the master of playing through this game the most quickly.
That's right.
I think you should talk about that, because when I played this game, I think it took me a couple of days.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested in playing the remastered version to see how long it takes me. I think it'll be, 12 hours or more, but when we were in test, obviously we're playing it, every single day, so we know it inside and out, but when a brand new build came down, we always had to play through from beginning to end, and I was the person that always ended up doing that because I could do it the fastest, and I got down to just a little over an hour playthrough time. I want to say like an hour and 10 minutes was my fastest time. Yeah, it was something else. I mean, I knew the whole game, like instinctually, and now I barely remember any of it.
You must have been able to skip through cutscenes or something.
Oh yeah, you can.
Yeah,
and you can skip dialogue too.
I think the cutscene tape that we received, so we could watch them, I want to say it was almost 2 hours long.
Oh,
it was
cool.
It was like an hour and 45 minutes or something.
That's really
good
cool.
Lord.
I'd like to watch that. I mean, I guess we're watching it right now.
A Glottis piacerebbero. Bruno Martinez?
Tu sei quello che mi ha chiuso qui dentro! Avresti potuto almeno darmi una rivista! 4 anni senza niente da leggere, tranne questa maledetta tazza! Che ci fai qui? E se eri diretto da queste parti? Perché non mi hai offerto un passaggio, eh? Puh, me ne vado di qui, questo è un mondo di pazzi!
It's funny because Pete was always great at knowing, not only would he know it was going to slip, he would always say, no, and then he'd spew out a date, and he was always within weeks, he always, and sometimes that date was way past where we were being told the date was. In fact, it always was. But he was always right, and I don't know if it was just a sixth sense or if it was...
Well, I remember specifically what you're talking about. I'm not going to be completely correct, but early in the year, I predicted that it would be June.
Yeah.
Which was about 2 months past our deadline, and I felt very bold doing that.
Totally.
But I felt pretty on solid ground doing that. Of course, this was internal, just within the sound group.
Yeah, we never would
share
say that
this
to you.
with other people. And Pete immediately fired back, "Day of the Dead." We all said, "What? Day of the Dead? What is that, November 4th?
Yeah, like 4th or 5th.
Yeah.
November 5th.
And so, you know what? He was within, we'd have to look at Wikipedia. Do you remember the release date? I don't remember.
It was October 20...
Close enough.
He was within a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
He was within a couple of weeks, and that was about March that he did that.
Oh,
and
wow.
it's quite amazing that he was able to see that distance. I don't know how he did it, but he said it with conviction too. That's the funniest thing of all, and he ended up being right.
Che succede?
Vai lassù e guarda!
Ehi, dove sono tutti? Sala d'attesa 2.
Per quanto dovranno aspettare lì?
Finché non avranno i biglietti. Erano prenotati sul numero 9, ma non hanno i biglietti con sé. La punizione per la vendita di biglietti doppia N è molto severa.
Ma loro non hanno venduto i biglietti, sono stati rubati.
Da chi?
Da Hector Le Mans per venderli ai ricchi che non li meritano.
Che potrebbero essere questi? Vediamo quello che essi meritano.
Insomma, non è che abbia paura o che, ma ci deve...
Di recente ho ricevuto la visita di un volatile dal volto umano. Conosci tale volatile, Manuel Calavera?
No. Come sai il mio?
Lui conosceva te e per te ha lasciato questo messaggio.
The guy who played these Peruvian flutes, I believe, is from Peru. To look at the credits again, he lives in the mission. It's like the whole Grimm score lives in the mission.
So cosa stai facendo, ti ho osservato, resta lì, sto venendo a germogliarti personalmente. Sinceramente tuo, Hector Le Mans. Oh, híjole!
Oh, gran demonio roditore! Oh, gran demonio roditore!
Glottis!
Udite il nome dell'eccelso Glottis. Glottis.
Cosa succede?
Da quanto tempo questo eccelso demone non guida?
Beh, sono mesi che ti diamo passaggi.
Mesi? Oh, il nobile di sicuro morirà.
Ma...
Leslie, I remember how you worked to keep everyone together and to help the team snuff out bugs and get this thing finished up. And I have to confess something after all these years, that as we would observe bugs in the game, that translated merely to us as, okay, fellas, we have more time. Let's get back to work.
Yeah.
Let's make this stuff even better. And so we'd see someone's head float off their body and just exit the screen while their body continued to remain on screen. And we'd say, that's at least another month.
So that's how you got more time.
We knew what the schedule was by just simply playing the game.
Odio quando la gente lascia le tazze sporche in giro.
There was somebody that who will remain nameless, but I remember they said, because they'd come out of advertising and they said, well, there's 3 types of animation. There are dogs and cats who chase each other. There are dogs and cats that talk to each other. And then there are logos that spin around. Those are the 3 types of animation. So I guess we need to put
that
chains.
made one potentially amazing animator quit.
Yes.
That ended up being
Pixar.
a soup at Pixar. So
Yes.
you can do your own homework to find out who that was.
È pieno di stracci. È sempre una buona idea portarsi in giro uno straccio. Meglio non macchiarmi le tasche.
You can hear your brother's charango. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it was a second ago. I think I heard it. It's somewhere in the Mayan train station music.
Cosa c'era in quella tazza? Una cosa così potente potrebbe alimentare un razzo. Se solo ne avessimo ancora.
Beh, potrei procurarvene un paio di camion, se vi interessa.
Ora vi lanceremo come una freccia nel vento. Possiate voi perforare il cuore del vento e bere il sangue del volo.
La velocità nutre il grande Glottis.
La velocità è vita.
Tornate a trovarci il giorno.
Per la maggior parte del viaggio. Ehi, guarda! Siamo già a Rubacapo.
Manny! Manny! Manny, dove sei? Manny, ho paura!
Rubacava, che città! Ricordi i bei tempi, Manny?
Sono finiti, amico. Non c'è più niente per noi qui.
Tranne forse la nostra auto?
Cribbio.
È stata...
intrappolata.
Ma chi? Chi?
Niente paura.
Yeah, this is Alan Blumenfeld's, who really brought a lot of heart to Glottis.
Yeah, totally.
He's just a real sweetheart.
Oh, yeah.
Someone told me like this was the moment they cried in the game, just hearing how scared Glottis was in the scene, because he gets really frightened. And it's actually a reference to a claim that a babysitter made about me when they were babysitting me. They said, "Oh, gee, you were so scared when your parents." You would sit there and you'd say, "Mother, mother, I'm frightened." And I was like, "No, okay. First of all, I never said that. I never said mother."
Yeah, that's suspicious right there.
But it got to be this family joke. Mother, I'm frightened, mother. And so that line actually got in the game.
Well, I think it's one of the real challenges for adventure games because so many things you make for an adventure game are single use, like single use animation, single use scenes, single use textures. They're all like you do a first person shooter, you do adventure game, or sorry, like a platform or something like that. There's so many animations that get reused so many times throughout the whole game. And an adventure game, a huge amount of it is just custom throwaway, meant to be seen once or twice, and occasionally all the time, like walk cycles. But You know, it's not like Mario. You know, at the time they were doing Mario 64, and it's like Mario has, you know, a ridiculous number of animations, but it's a finite set, and it's like they can all be loaded at all times. In this game, you have to dynamically load all the animations as they're needed, and you have to make sure they're available before they're triggered, so you don't get these glitches, and while you wait for them. And a lot of them are just, they're thrown away. They have to get, every single one has to be individually processed by a human to get them into the game and potentially rigged up. And that's one of the challenges of making adventure games, is that you have all these sort of custom things and you want to reuse them as much as possible. But in order to do that, you have to automate a lot of stuff, automate as much processing as you can. But you still have to have that ability to fix things. You know, in film, we'll fix it in post. It's the same kind of thing. It's like, we'll fix it in the engine, or we'll fix it in the tool, as opposed to we'll fix it in the source art.
And that's the you know, like you can walk to any room you want, and like all the little one-off assets. I think that's a unique challenge technically to adventure games that a lot of other games, other genres don't really have to address. But we're constantly like loading in custom stuff and kicking custom stuff out. And on this game, you know, memory is tight. You walk into this room and we need 16-bit flipbooks of doors opening and closing and one-off animations of you may go and play the piano, you may not go and play the piano. And there's all this technical kind of tomfoolery going on of trying to get the content that maybe that somebody
might be used,
might not be used. You might just be running through this room to some other room,
place, yeah.
And it's not like loading up a level in a first-person shooter where you're like, okay, I know what's going to be in front of the user at any one point in time, and we're going to use the same bad guy 50 times over. So I just need to get the stuff to run the bad guy in memory. This was this constant dance of like just-in-time loading and management of stuff, because you could walk into this room and spend 10 minutes in this room and explore every bit of content that this room could offer you, or you could just be running through on your way to somewhere else.
Back to this other puzzle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Manuel Calavera. Cos'è successo alla Limbo?
Odio dovertelo dire, Velasco, ma è affondata alla Perla. Ma abbiamo trovato un'altra nave, la SS La Mancia, e siamo riusciti a...
La Mancia? La mia vecchia bagnarola arrugginita? Dov'è?
Ah, beh, a Puerto Sapato l'abbiamo scambiata con una muta di cani da slitta.
Fantastico! Me ne vado da questa squallida città di pezzenti.
Ma...
Grazie per aver ritrovato la mia piccola, Manny. Puerto Sapato, sto arrivando.
Città di pezzenti?
Tim, how come you know so much about neurosis and psychosis? It's really
I don't know if this is
quite
all.
striking.
I don't know if any of this is legitimate psychological knowledge or just what I learned from movies.
Well, speaking as sort of a crazy guy myself, it rings true to me.
Potrei finirmela io.
I think I offended Tim once when I said, Tim, you should write scripts for movies. This is such a great idea. And Tim said, I make video games. I want to make video games. Why are you telling me to do something different? And I felt bad.
You cried that time?
No, I only cry at night, late at night. But
Tim was often at the office at nighttime. I remember him.
Oh yes,
locking his office door and me trying to peek in between the curtains he laid over top of the glass, and he would be in there for days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
When he finally got down to doing the dialogue stuff, I remember that it was always like a pressure valve that blew on him at one time or another, and he would just lock himself in and churn out this amazing dialogue.
No, I mean, I think Tim was a very intimidating person. To try and be funny around Tim was hard because he was so funny, and I never felt like I kind of rose to.
I relied on my funny Canadianness,
right,
and my looks. That was enough.
I think it was, yes, your biting wit.
I think I bested him one time with a facial expression that was not intentional.
What was the expression? Can you do it for the people on the commentary?
You'll see it in the game if you look hard enough.
Good Lord.
Amazing.
But it was great. I mean, Grimm is definitely still sort of the most satisfying project I think I've ever worked on. It was just a lot of fun, and you know, the Cuban actors, American actors, Irish actors, a guy from Hungary, you know, just all over the place, just to bring that sort of diversity to it.
I remember some trickle-down drama from upstairs in the test pit towards the end where things didn't seem to be getting done as fast as whomever wanted them to be getting done, you know? And I just remember, like, there was some question as to whether or not we'd have to cut a bunch of scenes or even a whole year from the game, you know, or something, because stuff wasn't coming in.
That was terrifying.
Yeah.
Ecco cosa mancava al modellino dell'Lombaggine. Finta acqua di mare.
Calavera, che ci fai qui? Si diceva che fossi rimasto secco e zappato, paparino.
Hector Le Mans ci ha provato e ha fallito. E adesso tocca a me. Sono diretto a El Midollo per farlo fuori.
Quel posto è cambiato, Manny. Non sai in che guai ti stai ficcando. Farei meglio a venire con te. Dammi un minuto per prepararmi.
Ok, ma se senti un'esplosione tra poco, significa che il viaggio è annullato.
Cos'è?
È una limonata lombaggine. Provala.
Un ottimo aperitivo, direi. Sì, signore. Niente male, davvero. Dimmi subito dove l'hai trovata.
Nella cucina di Olivia.
Limonata lombaggine!
Manny, non siamo in ritardo?
Tranquilla, non ci vorrà molto.
Il mio stomaco non si sentiva così da...
Oh, Glottis.
Quindi sarebbe questa la roba nella quale mettono la carne in scatola. Bello su, amico.
Immagino che tu non abbia una mentina, vero?
I have to say, coming out of school, I felt super lucky to, first of all, be hired by LucasArts by some colleagues of mine who went to the same school, and to walk into this building and see all the concept art for this game on the walls. I was like a kid in a candy store. It was instant, euphoric inspiration, and I just felt like the luckiest guy in the world coming out of school, getting to work on a project of this caliber. It was beautiful.
Smettila di tremare! Non ti muovere!
Non ce n'è molto dentro, meglio conservarlo.
Ti uccido!
Ehi, buona idea. Scommetto che ora che è raffreddato posso usarlo.
Aspetta prima che passi io, ok? Ok, buttiamoci.
Sembra che Hector abbia in mano l'intera città.
Non ha incontrato molta resistenza, c'è solo un golpetto che lo combatte e si trova ai confini della città.
Posti come questo, vuoi dire?
Spero non facciano del male a Glottis. Ciò mostra quello che sai su questo gruppo. Il capo è un grande uomo che...
Manuel Calavera, ci incontriamo di nuovo. Vedo che hai trovato ciò che cercavi. È una fortuna che siete arrivati ora che anche noi stiamo per ottenere il nostro scopo. Il nostro esercito è cresciuto. I nostri migliori agenti sono nell'armeria di Hector Le Mans, in procinto di rinchiudere il nemico nella sua tana. Non ce l'avremmo fatta senza di te, Manuel.
Trappola! Era una trappola.
C'è una sola cosa da fare.
Grazie, signore. Mi avete salvato, ma soprattutto mi avete permesso di continuare a servire la causa.
Che dicevi della trappola?
Hector ha scoperto i nostri agenti nell'armeria.
No.
Bosley, idiota! Il tuo nuovo assistente è una spia! Mai sentito parlare di controlli incrociati?
Cosa?
Non c'è tempo ora. Dovrò prendere in mano io la situazione.
Portami con te. Ho sempre desiderato servire la tua causa, Sal.
Ecco il mio piano. Mi serve un travestimento per potermi avvicinare a Hector e una pistola per avere argomenti di conversazione quando lo incontro.
Se voi vi occupate di questo, io andrò a cercare dove sta.
Il suo casino è proprio sopra questo quartier generale.
Bene, ci incontreremo lì.
Si offre volontaria per una missione pericolosa. Potrebbe essere molto utile alla causa.
Per quanto mi riguarda, lei è la causa.
One of the standard things that happens in noir is a guy meets a woman that just spirals him into a world of shadows and intrigue and stuff like that. Like, and sometimes it's because it's a femme fatale who's up to no good, and sometimes it's also a totally innocent woman who just happens to be on this path that she's in sort of trouble, and he gets pulled into it. So you meet Meche in this world, and it spins Manny off into this whole different path. But it's really, for some reason, it was important to me that Manny was actually partially to blame, or feel like he was partially to blame.
Right.
Like he thought he had caused her to be lost.
Right.
When it was actually more Domino's fault that she got sent off. He stole her number 9 ticket.
Well, you didn't want to blame the woman, like
Well, no.
say Double Indemnity does, or
yeah, where she was actually scheming and where this is more just someone who Manny feels like he has caused misfortune to come to.
Right, or Maltese Falcon does, for that matter. Yeah.
Scommetto che l'agente di questa foto è quel poveraccio che Hector ha appena ucciso. Scommetto che l'agente di questa foto è quel poveraccio che Hector ha appena ucciso. Scommetto che l'agente di questa foto è quel poveraccio che Hector ha appena ucciso. È la parte del soldato che non si è alzata uscendo di qui su una mano sola. Meglio salvare questa parte dalla germogliazione. Chissà se è il piccolo Manny.
I imagine these pigeons being all over the game, everywhere. And they just showed up in a couple places and it made me sad.
I think I wrote up a crappy bug about that. And I said, we want more pigeons.
Thank you, man.
Closed.
I think we ran into the polygon limit and we could only have so many. The pigeons
Were
because
alpha flats. There were many alpha
yeah,
flats.
but there were a lot of them and they were actually some of the highest poly things in the games.
It's my fault.
Because I think every bone got built on the pigeons.
They were actually really fun to animate.
Yeah, the pigeons were a real fiasco.
It's kind of hard.
Alex.
It was my first experience.
I appreciate this. Finally brings some closure to the pigeon situation.
I think
I'm answering your bug right now.
Right now.
Let's
go
close
back
this
and
bug
check
out.
this off.
That was also my first experience animating something and not knowing how it was going to be used. So that was kind of like a different mental shift for me. And it was just the first time I had to make a bunch of idles and loops or, takeoffs and lands that all had to work together. It was pretty interesting. I remember swearing.
A tutte le auto, a tutte le auto.
Manuel, tutto a posto?
Provavo solo l'attrezzatura, Sal.
Salvador, forse dovresti spegnerla, così possiamo parlare.
Remember one day Tony came into the studio and he had a silk shirt on, and on top of the silk shirt he had a sort of a little sweater, sleeveless sweater. And we were recording and it was like, God, what are we hearing? What are we hearing? And the engineer's like, oh, I think it's a sweater. And we're like, hey, Tony, can you take your sweater off? Takes the sweater off. Back to rolling again. Sound's still there. So he took his sweater off and went back to rolling, and turned out it was a shirt that was making the noise. And we were like, Tony, it's the shirt, it's a silk shirt. And so he's like, it's okay, I got a t-shirt on underneath. So he was down,
Just stripping down.
he was stripping down into his t-shirt, and did the rest of the session in his t-shirt. But that was the thing with Tony, is he just loved, he loved working. And for part of the production, he was shooting at night on a movie, and there were a couple of days where he came in and he only had like a couple hours of, a few hours of sleep, and I remember saying like we can reschedule this session, and he's like, no, let's do it, and he always was
Nailed
there
it.
to give it his all.
So cosa stai facendo, ti ho osservato, resta lì, sto venendo a germogliarti personalmente. Sinceramente tuo, Hector Le Mans. Ok, non mordere, questo è un messaggio. Tu ami i messaggi, ricordi? Ok, buttiamoci. Vai, baby, per la rivoluzione.
Uno dei messaggeri di Hector. Un messaggio per me. So che cosa stai facendo. Ti ho osservato, lo sapevo. Sto venendo a germogliarti personalmente, sinceramente tuo Hector Le Mans. Sapevo che mi teneva d'occhio tutto il tempo. Non troverai mai il mio rifugio segreto, Hector. Dovrai trovarti da solo un altro fioraio.
I remember having to get extensions. That was like my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
No, I would have to go in because I'd be the same thing. Because I always advocate for the artist, and I did. I mean, that's why I loved working with Tim. He's so creative. And so we would talk and collaborate, and then when I'm like, no, look, this is the date, because I'm trying to say the date, and then he did the, the ship story. And so then we had to go get more time. And I was like, well, how are we going to do that? And then he was like, here's my technique. I go into Jack's office and I stay in there and I threaten to light myself on fire and I just scream and I stay in there until he extends the date. And I'm like, that's a great strategy.
Yeah, it worked.
I know. It worked. Threaten to light myself on fire.
Well,
That's
see, we would never try that in the sound department because Jack would just say, go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Look at that.
I forgot about this set.
That looks like a painting or something. That's great.
Yeah, this is one of the. Yeah, when you get a Peter Chan drawing, this one was a Widowmaker as well, where you just thought, how does that pipe go into that?
Things didn't quite line up.
I was going to say that environment with the pipes in it, it almost had like a Day of the Tentacle or Sam and Max feel to it. There's a lot of distortion in the pipes and felt a little more wacky than what we see in the rest of the environments.
No, definitely.
Ehi là, laggiù! Lascia perdere. Torna a dormire qualsiasi cosa tu sia. Dammelo.
I didn't put in too many late nights, but there was one where I was in the office at 2 in the morning just making notes on the script, and all of a sudden Chuck Jordan walks by my office and says, "Hi," and there was a way about him that 10 minutes later I got up from my desk and went over to his office and went in and said, "Did you just get in?" And he's like, yeah. He's like, I get in at 2. 2 in the morning. He's like, yeah. And I guess that he'd put in so many late nights that his whole time clock had shifted. And so he said to Tim, he's like, hey, is it okay if I just come in at 2 in the morning? And Tim was like, sure.
I remember the big wall of concept art that was like and 15 feet tall, and you'll see on the internet, probably see some of it on the special edition of these pencil drawings that are, and you only get to see them one at a time, but there were hundreds of them, and they were all pinned up to this giant corkboard.
Yeah, it's like wallpaper.
Like wallpaper, yeah. It was amazing to see this beautiful art transform from these pencil drawings on the wall into the game in front of you, and
it kept the style in a lot of cases. I mean, some of the things were the 3D scenes were amazing.
Yeah, the faithfulness to those original Peter Chan drawings is incredible.
Johnny Thunder non fa entrare chiunque nella sua rivista. No. Cioè, indossare il trucco di Johnny Thunder è un onore. Giusto. Un privilegio. Giusto. Allora le ho detto, fammi questo 10% di sconto o vado da qualcun altro. Hai detto così? Certo. Ero furioso, capisci? Ma adesso viene il bello. Ovvio che appena alzo abbastanza moneta per un biglietto doppia-N, me la batto. Che? I doppia-N non si possono comprare. Beh, conosco uno che conosce Hector Le Mans. Wow, tu conosci proprio tutti. Non dirmelo.
Ehi, fuori dallo spogliatoio! Abbiamo già tutti i Thunder Boy che ci servono.
Oh, sei qui per le selezioni dei Thunder Boy?
Sì, esatto.
Oh, che peccato.
Perché abbiamo appena avuto le ultime 2 parti.
Riprova la prossima stagione.
Stai scherzando?
One of the cool things about this game too is that there's a few characters that actually went through costume changes throughout the game, which was a nice detail.
No, and it really gives you a sense of time passing.
Allora io dico...
Ci credo.
Questa macchina è enorme, ma la macinatrice sembra manuale. Ah, è una macinatrice manuale.
E il regista dice...
There's no... This is a really boring fact. I'm going to share it anyway. There's no inventory combinations in Grim Fandango. You can't use an object with another object in your inventory.
Oh, that's right.
So if you want to put the bone in the bone grinder, you have to put them in this receptacle in the room. Another weird mechanical contrivance from my own head. A handheld snow grinder that would plug into a giant snow grinder. I'm sure they have those, right?
Wait, what's a snow grinder?
It's like a fake, like to make fake snow for the show. And this is what I'm talking about. You can't use the hand with the snow grinder.
Oh.
So you put the snow grinder down, and then put the hand in it, and then pick it up. And that's how you combine. This is the one object combination puzzle we have. I don't know why the lid on it closes. That was like really important technically.
Credo che sarebbe felice di sapere che il suo corpo è stato utile alla causa.